Hello, otters, and happy Halloween to you. Today's video is a spooky one. It's about all the scary reasons that people are afraid to teach middle schoolers or think that middle schoolers are so scary. So, I'll start off with my first fear or concern when I found out that I was basically scheduled or signed up or on track to get my endorsement in middle school. I told my advisor, no, I don't want to teach middle school. That's crazy. That was a horrible time in my life. Well, it's a horrible time in everybody's life. So if you're a middle schooler watching this, I just want you to know it gets better. High school is a little bit better. College is way better. Adulthood is better. After high school is better. Adulting stinks sometimes. You gotta, pay bills and pay taxes and, be responsible for stuff. So that stinks, but it's definitely better than middle school. No one ever looks back and says, wow, middle school was the best years of my life. It was awesome. I peaked in middle school. Said no one ever. So most people, when I tell them that I teach middle school, they say, oh, bless your heart, or that's so hard, or they're so scary. Not really. It does take a special kind of person to teach middle school. And when I was in college to be a teacher, my professors told me that people that are in school to teach elementary have a heart for the kids. People that are in secondary for the secondary licensure, they have a heart for the content. People that are middle school are just crazy. No, but seriously, they said that people that are middle school have a combination of both, a love for the content and the kids. It's a weird hybrid, and that's definitely true. I love science, and I love teaching middle schoolers. They are fun. Another fear that people have is that they are walking hormones, which is true, but that's part of what makes it fun is their awkwardness. And I'm an awkward person. We all have our awkward moments, and if you just own your awkwardness and are upfront about it with the middle schoolers, then they will respect you a lot. So that's one thing that they're afraid of. Another thing is that they're just rude teenagers, which might be true, but if you kind of throw it back at them with whatever your personality tools have, and my personality tools in my teacher toolbox of personality is sarcasm, or I kind of make them think like, hey, you just said this, and this is how it sounded. So if you think what you said, then usually they'll kind of back and be like, whoa, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean for it to come across that way. And sometimes I need to be checked in that way. My wife will tell me like, hey, you said this and something like this. I'm like, yeah, I didn't mean it that way. With a hoarse voice, it sounds even worse. So I get it. Another thing that people are afraid of is that, they're smelly, and that's definitely true. Sometimes they are smelly. Sometimes I smell. At the end of the day, I get smelly. We all get smelly. I mean, from the time that I know 8-year-olds that are smelly. So I get it. People smell. So yes, middle schoolers smell. But the other cool thing, crazy thing about teaching 6th grade is that it's two extremes. Like I still have students losing their baby teeth. And then I have students I've taught 6th graders that are taller than I am, which isn't saying a lot, but these kids were crazy tall. So it's a wide range of characteristics of middle schoolers, and that scares a lot of people. But if you don't get scared of that, which, speaking of scary, it looks like my face is like this floating face, which is scary for anybody watching this. But anyways, but if you look past all that scary stuff, I mean, they're funny. The things that they say, they're still kids, that they still say the darndest things, They understand sarcasm. At least half of them do, and the half that don't, it's funny when they don't get it. It just goes right over their heads. And they appreciate realness. Like, you just being real with them is what they want. Like, if you're not a joking personality, then don't joke around with them. Don't try to be somebody who you aren't. They appreciate someone who doesn't judge them. just like we all do. I mean, they're younger humans is all it is. They appreciate someone who does not hear the things they do or see the things they do and judge them. I tell my troublesome students, like, hey, every day you come in my class, you have a clean slate. I have gotten over whatever you did yesterday, whatever you did in so-and-so's class. If you were bad first block in whatever math class, it doesn't count in my class. I said, I know about it, but you have a clean slate, and middle schoolers will respect that. One of my former high school classmates that I went to high school with, I taught her daughter and her son, actually. And I know her daughter came home and said, which is crazy, I never heard her daughter speak in class, and said, my science teacher, this guy right here, tells a lot of stories. And her mom, my former classmate, said, well, all good teachers have good stories. And I think that's true, that if you have, life experiences, or if you can relate to them, or, you don't always share that you had this perfect life, that, you might have gotten in a little bit of trouble, which I got in a little bit of trouble, not huge, after school detention one time, office referral one time, lunch detention, I think maybe one time. But so, yeah, if they hear those things, or hear your awkwardness, or hear your times that, you didn't have any friends, or you smell bad, or whatever, they appreciate that, and they respect it, and it helps to build a relationship. And that's kind of our focus this year at school, and it has been for a few years. And some of my Facebook friends have been posting about how, the main part about, teaching, one of the most important things about teaching is building relationships. And I definitely think that it is very important. Early on, when I was getting observed, like my first few years of teaching, what my assistant principal always told me, and my principal at the time always told me, was that I had two things, and I heard these a lot when I was teaching too, is that I have a high amount of content knowledge because I'm a nerd, and also I have an amazing rapport with the students. And I thought it was because I was younger and I was a early teacher, but here it is 13 years later, and I am definitely old enough to be their dad, and yet I still feel that I have the same rapport with them as I did when I first started teaching, but I have more experience under my belt to be able to pull the tools out of my teacher tool belt and use them in more classroom management. And do I let them get a little crazy like I did in class yesterday? Yeah, but I know how to rein them back in because of the experience and everything like that. So don't be afraid of middle schoolers. If you're on the track, or you think you might want to teach middle school, give it a chance. It's not that scary. If you have a middle schooler at home, hey, I get it. It's worse than it is at school, but it does get better. So I hope that helped. Until next time. Well, wait, before I do that, happy Halloween. Stay safe. Be careful with candy. If you have peanut allergies, watch out for those things. If you have Reese's cups, bring them to me. I will take. I can find a very happy home for Reese's cups, Butterfingers, and Whoppers. All right. And I actually have candy to trade. Or I'll just take the Reese's and Butterfingers and Whoppers. Anyways, stay safe. Be nice to each other and keep on learning. Bye.